Hello and good day. Hey, welcome to the Super Good Camping Podcast. My name is Pamela.
I'm Tim.
And we are from supergoodcamping.com. We are because we're on a mission to inspire other people to get outside and enjoy camping adventures such as we have as a family. Today's guest is a pal we don't get to see in real life nearly as often as we would like. He's an amazing backcountry adventurer, whether it's solo trips, how-to videos, podcast episodes, or epic family trips. He has done it all. Please welcome Marty Morissette. Hey,
Hello.
hi, Marty.
Hey, how you guys been?
We're great, man. Let's.
I was trying to remember, how long do you figure the last time we did this?
I was trying to remember that too. It's been 2-3 years.
Don't know. Yeah, it's been a while. I don't even know if we were on Riverside at that point.
Yeah,
like I think it was.
I don't think you were on that. On that software.
Yeah,
we're very thankful that we made the switch because Zoom was. We had some problems with Zoom.
Yeah,
fair enough. Well, it's good. It's good to be catching up because I'm thinking it might be 2.5 years at least.
Wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, time flies.
Yeah, well, it does.
Although we've seen you at the Hamilton show, or Tim has since then. Yeah. How'd you like the Hamilton show?
It was good. It was, for me, and I'm sure we'll get into this, eventually. And I've been a lot more quieter on the internet, just in general, in terms of how much content I've been putting out. Life has changed quite a bit in the last year, I have to say. So for me, it was just such a good time good opportunity to get back out there, get back into the community, just kind of hang out with the people. Because a lot of, at least for me, over the last 5 years of doing this, or 6 years now, whatever it is, it's like a big part of it has been the people. And for me, the outdoors has always been about the people, like doing it with friends, with family, whatever it might be. And then I started this business of creating content, 6 years ago. And then again, it was about the people, all the community, the folks that we met along the way. And I'm sure you guys can relate to that as podcasters. And just, having an opportunity to all be in the same room physically, and enjoying a good time and just kind of talking. And there was the film festival, there was the talk I did, and then just going around the booth and just seeing the people. Really, that's what it was all about. So it was a great time all around.
Yeah, totally agree. For me, and I've said this a number of times, the best part is actually getting like real, honest to God hugs from my favorite people. Like, it's like, oh, yeah, I'm not watching you through a screen, right? Like that's.
Yeah. And, and I said that in my talk a little bit, where it's like, like the outdoor people are some of the best people I've ever had the chance to meet or hang out with and all that. So it's like, anytime I get to hang out with outdoor people, it's just always a blast. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and so on the note of your talk, I don't know that I've ever seen you present before that. I feel like maybe I did, but what was that experience like?
It was good. I mean, I'd been doing a few presentations along the way over the years. A lot more community events, I would say, like closer, like some of the partnerships and the sponsorship I had with Fjall Raven, for example. I had to as part of my deal with them is I would go to their community events and do some talks and whatever the subject would be, right? And I would just go right into it. And for me, the stage is not it's not a stranger to me. Like I used to play music and tour and sing. So like I do quite enjoy being up on stage in general. It's a fun place to be. This is much different, but my talk went well. I mean, like, and it was a bit of a challenge at first, just because we were at the Lancaster Fair there. We were at the back building, and in the morning there, I guess it's already been a month and some, so I'm having a hard time remembering. But was it not like the coldest day of the year out of nowhere?
It was crazy, right? Cold, and their heaters. I think they got one of multiple heaters that they were supposed to have. Only one showed up. And
that's right.
If it took some of the frost off, I would have been surprised.
Yeah, exactly.
It was crazy.
And it's not their fault. I mean, like,
no.
What are you going to do, right? Show must go on. Things happen. So, but yeah, certainly a little cold in there. I don't think I took my puffy jacket off the entire talk, but I had a good time. Like I said, a decent turnaround. I just love, a lot of of my fellow content creators use these talks to usually share more about like a specific trip or, something more specific like this. I've always used the opportunities of doing some talks and then keynotes and whatnot, just to to share a bit more of my experiences, what the outdoors has brought to me in my life. And I've always used the act of storytelling a little bit to either share, like, right, if I do a talk about, how to winter camp, for example, I'll share my first couple of stories of my first time ever winter camping. So it's always kind of put in together like this. It's never a presentation. It's essentially a collection of small little stories. And for the adventure show, for me, what I wanted to the thing I wanted to talk about was how, it's essentially the genesis of where I came from in terms of the outdoors in general. Where it came, how was I introduced to the outdoor? How did that become such a huge part of my life? And when I look back at that story, there's a very special character in my life that comes about. A huge role model of mine happens to be, who ended up marrying my cousin, so he's very close to me. Who introduced me to it when I was 12 years old, and I essentially the whole conversation that I have on there is these little stories I've had with him along the way, and kind of the message I try to send people off within that talk that I do is to just not hesitate. Essentially, what I ask people to do is to share their stories, their outdoor stories, as much as possible, and which is a big reason why I do I did the online content creation. It's because if it wasn't for the stories that Guillaume shared with me when I first met him, that inspired me, that really pushed me to want to try something new, that really got me that gave me the wonder of what it was like to stand on top of a mountain, for example, or to spend 3, 4, 5 days out in the bush with no communication away. If it wasn't for those stories, most of my life wouldn't have happened the way it's happened, because the outdoors has been such a big part of it. And it was the stories that really triggered and inspired me the desire to want to do that. So I kind of, I'm a big believer in that your outdoor stories should be shared, because you never know how impactful they'll be in someone else's life, because I am the product of that. So a lot of my talk essentially kind of, as I walk you through that story of my life, how I started, what it was at the beginning, what it became, becoming a content creator along the way, and the purpose of doing that, it's kind of what I send people off is that, if there's one thing I want people to leave that chat today, is that your stories are very powerful and you should share them as much as possible, because you never know what kind of impact they'll have on someone else's life. So it was a good talk. I think people enjoyed it. People came to say they liked it. They come to say hi, and it's always just a pleasure to go and meet the people in real life.
Cool. Well, it was a pretty full room as well, despite the chill, which is, I mean, it was something. Yeah, it was something insane, like -40. It was crazy cold.
Yeah.
I showed up in a hoodie. People were looking at me like, "What's wrong with you, man?"
Yeah.
But I'm like that. So
Yeah.
And just to further with that, it must be awesome to be able to share those things with your kids. I speaking for myself, it's one of the things I love the most is to involve my family in my passion of the outdoors, whether it's backcountry, whether it's front country. I don't care whether it's like, taking a walk. I don't, whatever. I'm glad that my kids are now to a point where they actually like to do stuff on their own, whether it's with their friends or one of them still actually jumps in a canoe and goes out in the backcountry with me. Like that's awesome.
Yeah. The kids part of it is, it to most people on the outside, if they don't have kids, or even if they have kids, they can look at some of the stuff I've done with my kids and kind of think I'm a little, it's maybe outside of their comfort zone, or a little bit, they think I'm crazy. But I was lucky enough I don't know if that's luck, but I was lucky enough to work at overnight camps when I was younger as a camp counselor. So, going out with kids was just, I had been taking care of kids since I'm 18 anyways. So it was, when they came around, it was about time to get into this. It was a no-brainer for me that I wanted to share that passion with the kids. And there's a lot of reasons. I remember, once again, my mentor Guillaume, because he's 10 years older than me, but because I became an adult very young in my life, I had kids very young. We had our last two at the same, well, my first two and his last two at the same time, essentially. So we had kids the same age, and I remember like and I talk about this in the talk quite a bit. Is like, as a young boy, when I was 12, just wanting to follow him and do all of these cool adventures and learning all of this, and very much wanting to be essentially him in what he does in the outdoors, because that inspired me so much. And adventuring for me is like the story of my life. Everything's an adventure, from having kids to going outside to my career. I see everything as an adventure. That's what really got me going. But there's a time in my life between probably 18 to 24 where the outdoors kind of took a little bit of a side gig for me, because I was playing so much music at the time, and I wanted to become a rock star. So I was doing a lot of that. I was doing a lot of that, and that didn't pan out, and it's fine. But when the kids came around, then I started to think to myself, like, what kind of dad do I want to be? Like, what kind of lifestyle do I want to? Because that's one of the greatest power that you have as a parent, is you get to kind of mold the life that you can give to your kids. And there are many pathways. To some people that's organized sports, to others it's church. To me, that was the outdoors. And the way I came about to that is that I hadn't been hanging out a ton with Guillaume for a while, just because I was a young adult. He had kids, right? And I didn't have kids at the time. So I was doing my thing. And when I got kids, it was when the kids came around, it was like, well, what is that going to look like? And the first person that came to mind was my old mentor. Is like, well, what is he up to? And little that I had heard all of the stories of his adventures with his kids, and that really inspired me to want to do that with him. So we started to do a bunch of trips together with the kids, and just spent a lot of these early years together. He's got 4 boys, I've got 2 girls, and it'd be him and I, 6 kids, just going at it, right, doing whatever we were doing. And that's kind of how it came about. And I remember him telling me, he's like, Marty, he's like, I much prefer being out here with all the challenges that it brings than being sitting in the hockey bleachers and not participating. To me, like, and to him, that was his motivation to be doing all of that. And it really spoke to me, because again, and there's nothing wrong with however
Yeah, I
people
was
want
going to say,
to do
each
any
to
of
their
that.
own.
It's just for me, that really spoke to me. It's like, yeah, if I'm going to be having to bring my kids around to do stuff, I much prefer being in there, right? Mountain biking with them, cross country skiing with them, canoe tripping with them, bike packing with them, right? And that was kind of our way of, like, doing all of that. And again, I was very young when the kids came about, and my wife was a stay-at-home mom, and did that forever. And it was certainly welcome from me to take the kids away for a week so she can have some time off to herself, right? As well. So it all kind of worked out together in that regards. And for me, I look back at all those stories, and along the way, which was a big reason why I started to make the content. Like, the initial thought as to why I started to make the content before it became what it became was, I have done all these cool things with the kids, and I literally have no pictures. Like, I have the one picture that I showed at the show where you see me with a double trailer bike. No, it's my mountain bike, my double chariot behind it, and then we had MacGyvered a way to attach a double trailer bike behind it. So this way I could go on bike packing trip with the kids, and have the kids either sleeping in the chariot with the gear strapped on the trailer bike, or vice versa, right? So and I only have the one picture of that time, and I'm like, man, I've been doing all these cool things, and I really have no memories, because I wasn't really into taking pictures or videos or anything like that. And the first thought was, why don't I put together a little website, a blog? Take take your GPX track of what you do, take some pictures along the way, upload this into Google. It'll put the pictures wherever I took them on the track, make a website out of it. And that just blew up. And well, that never happened, because I went from that really quickly to, I think I can make videos. And then the obsession of creating content around it, right? After that just kind of kicked in, and everything that has brought along the way. But to be able to share that passion with the kids, and then looking back at it, it was very calculated on my end, in the sense that it's like, I do find that the outdoors is such a great teacher That's why most of the outdoor programs are called leadership programs. There's a reason for that. It's because it can sound silly that learning knots is useful or is a leadership thing, but when you apply all of the skill set that you need to have to be a good outdoors man or woman, whether you're a child or an adult, it's so much little pieces of knowledge that you have to put together. You have to show a lot of teamwork, a lot of leadership skills, a lot of resilience. I remember paddling, the kids would have been 4 or 5, 12 hours straight in the rain, right? And I'm just thinking, I'm like, I'm having these conversations with the kid because they're obviously having a tough time with it. And I'm having a tough time too. I've just learned to manage my emotions by the time I'm my age. And I've also been in that situation so often, it's not strange to me, right? So I'm trying to teach the kids all of that. And if I look back, that teacher, the outdoor as a teacher is I have not found the equivalence, I would say, in the same way, because I grew up in organized sports quite a bit, and that taught me a lot. But the leadership aspect and the resilience aspect and the being how would you say that, resourceful aspect of the outdoors is quite unique. And I do think that a lot of those skills is what served me the most in my life as an adult. And I wanted to give that back. And it was a great way to do it while playing, essentially.
Well, yeah, the ability to adapt to changing things, because that you can't always predict.
Yeah. Yeah, people always ask me why I never look at the weather when I go out. It's because it doesn't matter. I'm packing all the same stuff. Whatever happens out there happens, short of a hurricane, like or a big tornado warning. Like, it's like if I'm out there with all the things I need to go through, whatever is thrown at me. So it really doesn't, I need a temperature range is nice, right? But other than that, like, it's like whatever happens out there. Because if you're waiting for a good temperature to go out, or for good weather to go out, you might just never go out.
Yes. Or you plan to go out and it will go, nope, not today.
Mm-hmm.
That's usually how.
Involving the kids in this was a great blessing, great way to bond together. Yeah, for
How
sure.
old are they now, Marty?
13 and 14. So, which is a big part as to why life has changed so much over the last year. We've fully transitioned from childhood into teenage years, and everything that comes along with it. If it's funny, I remember learning in university or in college and one of my psych class that, the difference between childhood and teenage years is that children look up to their parents for approval and teenagers look up to peers for their approval. Right. And it's so fascinating to see it play out in real life, going from, them wanting to be with me all the time and being excited about all this to them now they'll only come with me if I go out with their friends. So now I don't have 2 kids. I've got 4 kids that I got to bring out, and everybody's got, but that's the next iteration of them, becoming independent in that world that I want them to become. So this summer we're going to be doing 5 days, might be 6, 7 day river trip with them, but they're both going in their own canoe with their own friend, with their own gear, with their own setup, right? And they're going to ride their own rapids now, and I'm not going to be the one paddling all day long for them. So we already had a smaller version of that last year. So now I've got, but everything becomes more complicated because I've got 2 tandem canoes and my solo canoes, and then everybody else we go together, because usually we try to go a few friends together with kids, because it's fun for everybody this way. And so we're in that new world, if that makes sense, that new era of their life, chapter of their life. And that's also why, filming just doesn't seem to make sense anymore, I would say, as they become teenagers and all that, and even like, even when they were younger, I was, that's always something, it was interesting as a creator, is that as much as I always wanted to showcase the real thing, there's a lot of things out of respect for them that I would not showcase in those films, right? Which has been something I've talked in different conferences I've done and all that, where it's like, you don't see all the times that my kids are pretty strong and they're good at it, but you don't see all the times they've been crying or all the times that they have these things, because I just didn't feel like it was fair for me to do that, right? So I edited those out, but just a real reality of it. But now they're teenagers, they've got friends, and I remember very specifically the last trip we did on the Zumuan that we filmed together. I knew very much that the camera was too much. Like, I knew in that moment, I was like, this is the last time I ever film. And I remember having that conversation with them, film with them at least for the moment being, because the camera was an extra now. And it was taken away at our time together. And I was like, none of this is worth any of that. I'm out here with you guys. Like, the filming allowed us to do so much because it gave us a lot of opportunities, but we made it far enough now that we can do this differently, if that makes sense. So it was, yeah.
It absolutely does. I mean, speaking to that point, I take a ton of pictures. I do film some, but I don't film it in such a way that it's going to end up being content. It's so that I can throw it on a big ass hard drive and I can watch it every once in a while when I want to. It's those memories. It's not for anybody else's.
That's right.
And it doesn't interfere, because most of the time I don't film because I just want to enjoy the moment. I just want to spend that time, whoever's in the canoe, paddling away, looking at the pretty rocks, whatever, that's my gig. So I totally get where you're coming from there.
Well, and at some point they also become quite self-conscious. That was my experience anyway. And then you're right. Then it's taking away from their enjoyment of it if they're feeling self-conscious about, how do I look? Is my hair a mess? Am I going to be?
There's that, and the inevitable fact that filming is a whole beast in itself, right? Like, it is like it's a second completely independent activity that you're doing while you're doing another activity, right? So and I've had that conversation many times with other content creators, and especially up and coming ones that want to get into it. And I always told them, I said, listen, this is only going to work if filming is as fun for you as the camping itself, because this is hard. Like, it's doing the you're going to paddle the same section twice or three times over, because you're going to go set up the camera, you're going to come back, you're going to do a paddle by, you're going to do a walk by, you're going to move the camera every time you do something, you're going to try to capture a moment, you're going to take yourself out of the moment to capture the moment. And there's, in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with it, but capturing the moment has to be so fun for you that you're willing to get yourself out of the moment.
Yeah, it's a very time consuming job. Absolutely. Sometimes.
Yeah, it's very much, it is a job. In the beginning, when I started to go out and my friends, you start making content, and then everybody, all your friends, everybody wants to go out with you, right? It's just like, and at first I would go out, and then I'd get frustrated out there because I wasn't clear enough about what it was that I was doing. So by year one, I realized that it's like, hey, we're going camping together, not a problem, but you have to realize I'm working. And that means that sometimes I need to walk over twice, three times. Sometimes I need complete quiet because I need a sound, right? Sometimes whatever it is that I'm doing, it is work, right? And treating it like work is necessary if you want to try to, if you want to have any success in this world. Treating it like work is it's necessary. You're going to shorten your trip you're going to plan your trips in the way you're going to film, rather than plan your trips in the way that you're going to usually just do your trip. So the timings are going to be different. Everything's going to be different. And anyone who has, and I mean, it's not like I had an enormous amount of success online, but anyone that has success online, they tailor the trip to the filming. And that's just a Hollywood behind the scene that nobody knows, right? Which is fine. Like, that's kind of I'm revealing some secrets, but it's just the way this is created. It's just like, any good rock band on stage is playing to a metronome in their ears. You don't hear it when you're there, but there's a reason why they're that good. It's because they're playing to a metronome.
Yeah. Or Neil Peart, but same sort of thing. He's a metronome.
Yeah.
All right. So it leads me towards, so doing all that job stuff while you're in the backcountry, especially with the kids, that that's going to take a toll to some extent, I would think. I really enjoy hanging with my kids, and like no holds barred, kind of a no other. I will make them pose for stupid pictures, but it's a click and we're done.
Yeah,
I'm
of
not
course.
I'm not doing
Yeah.
the 2 or 3 passes,
Yeah.
walk bys, go back for the camera sort of stuff. Um, so I've had the opportunity to really just dig the moment in nature. How is that? It feels like that has changed for you certainly over the last year, 2 years. It feels like you're going in a different direction.
Yeah. I mean, this it's an accumulation or accumulation, I should say, of like the last 15 years of my life, right? Like, you know, the internet and the world that I've been entertaining in has only seen, first of all, has only seen a very small portion of my life that seems like it's all of my life, but that's the magic of Hollywood. Once again, it's like it looks like that's all I'm doing every day, every second of the day, but it's the internet. It's not all. It's not that it's not true. What the things I'm doing are true, but I'm not out there every day. I'm making content that'll last me every day for a while, right? So you learn all these techniques. Um, but yeah, the internet has only seen this version of me, over the last 5 years, and what they don't know is nor should they know, because I've never really overly shared that. But it's like I had to become an adult very young. I mean, like I had two kids under 1 year old by the time I was 24, and life changed quite a bit for me. And from that moment, and it started in my parents' basement, and with my wife today, who wasn't my wife at the time. And it's the impact to that, right? Not deciding to stay at home with the kids and taking on that responsibility, and then me becoming the breadwinner and making sure, having all that responsibility is to making sure that these kids and my family is taken care of, on a financial side of things, and putting a house over their heads, and then the nurturing that goes into it, and the raising of the kids as a couple, and all that kind of stuff, and all the challenges that comes along the way. If anyone's been a parent, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So, for me, I have, most people don't understand or don't know that, but I've probably, and I say this modestly because I know how this sounds, but I've probably, and if anyone has seen my work over the last 5 years on the internet, I think they'll understand. Like I probably averaged easily 60, if it's not 70 hours of work week since I'm 24, for the last 15 years of my life. Like that has been my life since the kids are born. It's like what I got to do is provide a safe environment, and that means financially and all the stuff to my family. So that meant when I first started, I always had a full-time job with the city of Ottawa, because I work for Parks and Rec for the city of Ottawa. So I manage a recreation facility and all of that. And then on top of that, I owned a first aid and a national lifeguard business, instructional business, for a while. So I used to teach a ton of first aid classes, a ton of national lifeguard classes. I'd go out and I would do stints of 12, 13 weekends of teaching in a row, right? And then I built 2 houses in that timeline as well. I also had a business for a while where I used to write. That's before the content creation, where nowadays there are services where you can pay like a flat fee that's like $15 a month, and you can have all the music that you want, right? To edit your videos. Before that time, creators had to buy, it was about $120 per song on these similar kind of websites, right? And then so in that timeline, when that was the case, I used to write, I don't want to say score because that's too much. All I play
Right.
is
Yeah.
guitar
Yeah.
and a little piano, but I used to make songs for different not crew. Well, the internet, YouTube just wasn't what it was back then. But I had a cousin who owned a filming a company, and he would go out and make films for different corporations, and then I would write the music, right? So I did that for a while, and then very much so the idea of creating content was because I always needed 2 jobs to get to where I wanted to get, if that makes sense, to survive, if you will. And then when I built this house, then we moved in. After I moved in, I was like, well, if because that's when you're talking I built this house between 2016 and 19, I would say. That was like the 3 years of like me like finding a land, taking some classes because I wanted to build an eco home and do a few things like that, and getting involved. And I watched a lot of YouTube, and that's when the outdoor YouTube world blew up. Like quite literally, like 2018 is a big year for the outdoor world on YouTube. And I remember as I was building the house, I'm like, I think I could do that. And that would be a way for me to do the thing I love the most in the world, which is the outdoors, while creating a business that would feed that would there's two things that it would do. Is that it would allow me to do more outdoors because that's what I love doing, and it would also kind of bring enough money in, and between the sponsorship and the gear that you get, so that makes it viable, if that makes sense. And that was a big part of why I started. Otherwise, I would have just kept doing the outdoor just for the outdoor, if that makes sense. Like I wouldn't have made it a company. And you know, and then through that, then I fell in love with filming. I had never filmed before. Fell in love with filming because I hadn't been creating in 4 or 5 years. I had stopped singing in musicals. I had stopped doing a lot of different things. I was busy building a house for 3.5 years. So it was like, and then when I got to creating, it just like gave me all that creation energy that I missed so much without knowing. So that's why I went so deep to it. It was feeding a lot of different, parts of my life. And then last August came, and the kids, like I said, like it was very obvious when they became teenagers. It's like all of a sudden it's not with me they want to hang out, right? It's clear as day, and you can feel it coming. And so that happened. The seasons of life changed a little bit. And at the same time, it was like, you know what, like I kind of, quite honestly, I just canned out. Like I burnt out. Like I spent 15 years working so much, and just to provide, and it got me to a very comfortable place. Like, I mean, I'm not upset about it. It's just, but I essentially conked out. That's what ended up happening. So as I was reviewing all of what am I going to keep, what's going to go, what's life going to look like, the kids ask a very
Priorities, man.
different, yeah, they ask a very different version of my energy now. Like I'm a driver now. That's all I do. I drive. That's why I was late today. I was coming
Chauffeur.
back from practice, and I'm going around. And it just made sense to me that it felt like, considering how tired I was and how burnt out I was, it was like, it just makes sense to me that, you know, I've this venture has given me so much, and I'm so happy for it. The people I met, the sponsors, I got to work for some of the best brands, outdoor brands in the world. There is no way you could have convinced that 12-year-old kid who used to flip through the MEC magazine every year, right? Or not magazine, catalog, they were
Yes.
called. And I used to cut out the packs that I wanted to buy, that I would work for them once upon a time, or that any of the equipment that's in that catalog, you could just ask for it, they'll give it to you. You could have never convinced me back then, right? So it had so many good upsides along the way, and it just kind of reached, to a certain extent, at least for the moment, its end because of the new season of life. And I'm very much a big believer that life comes in seasons, and if you listen to it and if you tune into it, those are usually the right decisions to make for yourself. So I just I felt the page turn, and I just allowed it.
Yeah, we're the empty nester season.
Right. That's the next one after. Yeah.
Six and change years older and 10 years older. So yeah, we don't see them. we have a fur baby instead.
Yeah. So that's a whole new season of life, and that brings all of the new things that you need to learn about and tame and figure out how to do, right? So that's very much a transition I'm in, essentially. So that's why the last year I haven't been really creating much on the internet, and it's been good. It's been the best decision for me in this moment. I can't.
Yeah, no, I totally hear you, man. Our kids are our lives, like
any parents, really.
Certainly I would assume most parents, we would stop if something was interfering with being good parents. We would absolutely go, that's going to at very least go on pause for now, but whatever. It's just, we're going to move that out of the way so that we can continue to be, hopefully, good parents. I totally get that, man. I mean, I will say personally, I'm sad that I don't get to see new content from you. Um, but
It's not,
but I
it's
get it.
it'll happen the way it happens too, right? Like it's like, like I undeniably need a break from working so much, period. Like that is like before anything else, it's like I really hit a wall. So I restructured some finances, I've restructured some assets and all that kind of stuff. And now I'm just in a place where I can, and that was hard for me to accept. That was very hard for me to accept because it was like the most life defining thing I owned was my energy. Like some people call it your God-given gift, right? Whatever that is, like that was my attribute is I could work forever and I did it for 15 years straight without ever stopping and never feeling the effect of it. When that left me, that was very confusing also. Like I was very much like I needed to figure out what that meant. And I've worked so much in the past that twice I ended up in the hospital. I would overwork myself without noticing I was me getting sick because I'm very enthusiastic as a person, right? So it's not like I was purposely doing this. It was very much enthusiasm and lack of tuning into my own body and overworking myself. So, so it's like this time around I didn't want to do that. And yeah, it just kind of panned out this way. So for now, that's what it is. But I'm still out. Like like last spring, I had my first canoe trip that I went on my first canoe trip that I didn't film in 6 years, and that was beautiful to rekindle with. That was very different. I was like, wow, this is nice. And I really appreciated that. I appreciated the friendship. I appreciated not being um
Under the gun.
concerned about someone talking behind while I'm trying to get you know what I mean? Like all the
Yep.
stresses of what it was that I was working out there for. So that was fantastic. And then I did 2-3 more trips. I got into a lot more play boating as well, which has been another rekindle because Guillaume and I, when I was 12, what we got us really together was play boating on the Ottawa River, whitewater kayaking. That's where it started. But when I started the company, or the Marty Morissette brand, all of my free time went for filming trips. So I didn't have if I had a day off where I could go and just enjoy and paddle and not make content, I need to spend it with my family because all this other time I'm out there working. But now I don't have that. It's like now I can just go play boating, leave in the morning at 6, be back for dinner, had a great day on the river and just having a great time. So it's like it's been nothing but positive for me for what I needed in the moment. And yeah, it's just I'm very, very thankful for where it brought me essentially.
That's excellent. Yeah, I totally understand that. Take that weight off.
Yeah.
Just
But the adventuring never stops. Like I said, like I've been out constantly. I'm out there all the time. It's a way of living, right? And that's kind of what if there's one thing I had to offer in this journey to my audience compared to many of my colleagues doing this who had the opportunities to spend 30 days out, 26 days out, like is that living an adventurous life, an outdoor lifestyle life, even if you have kids, a house, a wife, a job, is very doable often. Like I was out there constantly and I'm still out there constantly. This is not a business. This is a way of living. This is what I choose to do with my time, right? And I was hoping to inspire a few people that may be in the same situation that might have a couple of kids, with a job that's demanding, and then but on Friday night you pack up and you go out, right? And even whatever that looks like, and it doesn't have to be a northern trip for 25 days. It can literally be a river trip for 3 days, in and out, and still get your fix, right? And that's really kind of what I felt like I had to offer. That's why I don't do conferences where I talk about my trips. I don't feel like my trips are anything they're anything exceptional. I understand my skill set as that's fine, but I mean, like it's not going across the barren land of Northwest Territories for
yep.
2 months. That's just not what I did, right? So, but what I did is I made it a lifestyle, and that's what I hope people can do the most because it's been so beneficial for me. It's been such a positive thing in my life.
Cool.
All right, that's it for us for today. Thank you so much to our guest, Marty Morissette. Check him out on YouTube. And please check us out while you're there. We're at supergoodcamping.com. And if you want to reach out to us, we're at hi@supergoodcamping.com. That's hi@supergoodcamping.com. And we'll talk to you again soon. Bye.
Buy some of our merch. Bye.